Guys, happy Tuesday. Old Tuesday at that. Get to that in just a second. Welcome to the Fox 5 Live Zone. I'm your host, Guy Lambert. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, coming up on the show today, a man accused of setting his apartment on fire and leaving more than 50 people homeless now appears before a judge. We have the very latest. You saw him on The Voice. Now you'll see him right here live in person. That guy, Kenny Aiko, with a brand new holiday song. He'll chat about it with us right here on the LZ. And how about we talk cash? Plenty of cash, lots of cash, and apparently that's what many of you want for Christmas. All that and more coming up on the show today, but I'll tell you what I want, warmer weathers.
Yeah, we all
this guy can bring it. Tucker Barnes joining us. Hello, sir.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
So, Guy, everywhere I look now, this show's breaking out.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, everywhere I look on social media. I want to thank the star of this show, your producer over here, Joey. Because every time I get on there, all I see is Joey. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
This dude is, put him back on. He's singing. Joey, didn't I see you singing on something?
I did. Yeah. I did with the Hugh Jackman impression guy.
Yeah. See?
Well, that's why we had great ratings.
Okay. Joey, you going to let us little guys do a little talking here? I promise. I'll only take a minute of your time.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, it's cold out there. 25 degrees in Washington, 23 Dulles. It is going to be... So here's the good news with the forecast, Guy.
Okay.
We get a little more sunshine than yesterday.
Yep.
Kind of a partly sunny afternoon. We're not going to get rain or snow today, so that part's good. But, boy, coldest numbers we've seen since literally last January and February. We were 8 degrees this morning in Martinsburg. We were 10 in Frederick. I had a viewer checking with me out in the mountains out at his place. He was 6 degrees this morning. So, you know, that's the real deal. And even the coldest morning yet, Dulles 14 and National 20 degrees. So cold inside the Beltway, too. Okay, a little bit of a cloud deck working through. On either side, there's some clear skies. So I think we'll get back into some sunshine at some point this afternoon, but not a bright sunny day, kind of a partly sunny day. Today is very cold. Tonight will be, once again, below freezing, but not as cold as this morning. And then tomorrow we'll briefly warm it up. Although tomorrow will be a cloudy day, winds out of the south will push numbers up into the low 40s, and we might have a sprinkle or a shower tomorrow. It won't be terrible, but it will be a little milder. That'll be our warmest day of the week. As far as snow chances this week, neither of the chances Friday or Sunday look like big storms, but maybe a couple flurries Friday. That might be a light snow event Sunday morning. We'll have to watch that one carefully.
Wow. What is this, week number 2 in the month of December? Every week we've had the possibility for snow so far.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, if you want to impress everybody at home, and I know you do with weather facts, we are off to our 6th coldest December in 75 years.
Wow. And that's good to know. Tucker Barnes joining us right here on the Live Zone. Folks, if you haven't already done so, make sure you download the Fox Local app and take that chilly forecast with you on the go. Well, some of the stories we're following this hour. A man accused of setting his apartment on fire and leaving 50 neighbors homeless is expected to face a judge today on arson charges. Detectives say Floyd Rich lit his unit on fire in Laurel Sunday night. Witnesses say he was suffering from a mental health episode and threw a dog off a balcony before setting his apartment ablaze. The fire, now estimated to have cost some $750,000 in damages.
The person in the house was having a manic episode. It started first with him throwing my dog over the balcony and then my personal belongings.
Well, the Red Cross is working to help find shelter for the 50 residents displaced by that blaze. Rich is expected in court later today. In Paramount, now going after Warner Brothers Discovery. They put in a hostile bid challenging Netflix, which already agreed to a $72 billion takeover deal just a few days ago. Paramount says it is going straight to Warner Brothers shareholders with a $30 per share cash offer and wants the company to reject the Netflix offer. President Trump said he will be involved in deciding whether or not the federal government approves any deal. Well, it's quite the busy day on Capitol Hill. Right now, the Senate Judiciary Committee discussing child safety online. Let's take a live look.
What we call the emerging issues involving child online exploitation and the evolving offenders that seem to keep up to date on everything they can do to harm these young people. As technology changes and evolves, so do bad actors who use it to commit all types of crime. This is especially true in child exploitation space. Gone are the days of ordering child exploitation material from overseas by mail. Now, child exploitation material is readily available online through various file sharing platforms, through direct access to victims and domestic and international websites.
Yet again, the Senate Judiciary Committee discussing all things surrounding child safety online. We'll continue to monitor that throughout the afternoon. Time now to talk politics, and joining us today is Madeline Somerville, attorney and political strategist, back here on the Live Zone. Happy Tuesday, Madeline. Good to see you.
Happy Tuesday to you, Guy. Good to see you.
All right, a lot to talk about. Let's jump right into it. In this case, we'll start off with Paramount attempt to purchase Warner Brothers, and we're hoping to utilize your legal expertise, if you will, regarding this matter. I guess the big question, Madeline, is does Paramount have a leg to stand on?
So here's the thing. There are cases called antitrust cases that exist in the United States where essentially that kind of law was structured to keep companies from creating monopolies, right? So the biggest companies can't, because we have a capitalist system, the biggest companies can't all get together and say, we are going to price every other mom and pop, middle, and other top tier companies out of being able to work in this field. And generally, right, we don't want to regulate business in the United States. I do because I'm a Democrat, but generally we don't want to. And so these kinds of cases are like the only regulations that we have in order to do that. A lot of people are fighting back because politically, right, we know that Barry Weiss just took over CBS. CBS is a Warner Brothers company. CNN also belongs to Warner Brothers. And so people are concerned about political ideology, one specific one, taking over. And the more that one company buys up, the more potential there is for one political ideology to take over. So I think this is actually a good thing that we're paying attention to this, because I'm for more regulation, because I think it means that it will be fairer, both economically and politically.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. President Trump set to discuss all things surrounding the economy tonight at 6 p.m. I'm very curious as to whether or not he'll touch on this topic as well. We'll have to wait and see. Madeline, the countdown now on to perhaps another government shutdown that is, well, unless the Democrats and Republicans can decide to play nice and come up with a deal surrounding health care. We know that Senate Republicans are eyeing competing health care proposals, or competing health care proposals, rather, and some Republicans want a deal that would preserve Affordable Care Act subsidies, while others want the enhanced subsidies to expire. What say you about all of this, Madeline?
So this is very interesting. I'll lay out the groundwork and then give you my opinion. So I think it's awesome, first of all, quick opinion, that President Trump is saying that the insurance companies are taking advantage of people. True, right? So we've got that perspective on the table. Then we've also got the fact that the Democrats want the ACA subsidies that were specifically supposed to be for COVID time period to continue. Right. What's also very interesting is that the Republicans are coming around to that perspective, because the reason why we had the shutdown in the first place was because the Republicans didn't want to continue the ACA subsidies. So now they've changed their tune, which I believe is because the American public has said, we want you to continue the subsidies, because otherwise 20 million Americans' healthcare premiums were going to double. Right. So now we've got the Republicans that have flipped. We've got the Democrats that are on the same page with them. And then we've got President Trump saying that he doesn't trust the insurance companies and that he wants to create what he's calling his own kind of health savings account, essentially, where you give the money to the people and the people make their own decisions about their insurance. Here's the problem with that, and it actually relates to the first question that we were talking about. You can't take something out of the public sector and put it into the private sector without regulation. Because if what we're saying is that insurance, then taking it out of the public sector where it's regulated and putting it into the private sector without having any regulations on it means that there's a lot more potential for insurance companies to take advantage of people. So I fear that this may have been a political, that my opinion is I fear that this may have been a political ploy to actually support the insurance companies despite what he's saying, but hopefully we'll see the benefit ultimately going to the American people.
Yeah, yet again, something that we will just have to wait and see. I feel like I say that each and every day, but as we all know, that happens to be the case. We'll end with this.
What else can you do?
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll end with this. And yet again, this is, I want your legal expertise surrounding all of this. And we know that a judge now ordering the mother of the White House press secretary, I'm referring to Caroline Leavitt's nephew, released from ICE custody on bond. Now, the woman in question was arrested last month near Boston and sent to an ICE processing processing plant in Louisiana. She shares custody of an 11-year-old with Michael Levitt, Caroline Levitt's brother. And so I'm curious, Madeline, your take on all of this.
I think that there's an old trope that rings true here, which is you don't really know how you feel until it happens to you. And so now that there's somebody in her family who is experiencing this, perhaps she might feel differently, but something tells me she's not going to. And that even if she is put in the position of having to defend her family, that she can market that easily as taking one for the team. It's clear that her loyalties lie with President Trump, and that she's going to do whatever she needs to in order to reassure people that that's the side that she's on. How she feels privately, I can't say, but I do know that in terms of political messaging, that's going to be her wisest way to go. But I think that it's also important to remember that people do change their minds once things happen to them. And if they don't, then that's a really big clue that maybe they need a little bit more understanding and compassion.
Yeah, yet again, very interesting. Madeline Somerville joining us with all things politics right here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Guy.
You bet. Well, the Trump administration's newly unveiled plan to slash federal cafe standards through 2031, well, let's just say it's really ignited a fierce national fight over fuel costs, emissions, EV adoption, and the future of the American auto manufacturing. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Sam Rouse with Young Voices back here on the Live Zone. Good to see you, Sam. Happy Tuesday to you.
Good to see you too, Guy.
All right, so Sam, let's talk about this. I'm hoping you could speak to how cafe mandates really force automakers to engineer vehicles, not only, let's just say, right here in Washington, not consumer demand, and how to roll back restores buyer choice.
Yeah, so the president is undoing what was a de facto EV mandate by the Biden administration to leverage this standard that's set around vehicle efficiency, trying to make them pretty much force the hand of our great auto companies to become more efficient, aka use less gasoline and more electricity. And he's undone this regulation that will allow the companies to create on their own pace, innovate at the rate at which technology is advancing, not at the decision of the government, and ultimately allow consumers to have choice in the kind of vehicles that they buy, whether that be gas or electric.
Sam, I hear you, but a lot of folks are also saying, well, hey, how can higher MPG mandates really raise sticker prices on not only trucks, but, SUVs and things of the sort and family cars that Americans really rely on?
Yeah, so what the CAFE standards were doing was essentially restricting companies from creating cars that are a little bit less efficient and most likely a little bit more affordable, essentially making some more outdated cars, making things that products that would be able to be sold at a much lower rate than the newest breaking technology. It's essentially the same as if the government came in and said that Apple could no longer make an older model of phone, which we all know over time older models become more affordable because they can be produced at scale. The parts and goods that are needed to create them are cheaper. And so this was really driving up the price of cars rather quickly, rather letting it move alongside with the market and inflation and regular forces that we see in our capitalistic economy.
Yeah, I think many of us would argue the older phones, they're okay, but we all love the newer phones. I think the proof is in the pudding with that one. I'm curious, how has it really functioned as a backdoor EV mandate? And why removing pressure lets innovation compete freely?
Yeah, so by setting the efficiency standards so much higher under the Biden administration, it was several percent greater than it had been ever before. It really was reaching a point in terms of the way in which fuel is used within cars, that the only cars that were really meeting this qualification were the new cutting-edge EVs by Tesla and some of the electric vehicle companies, not, the regular gas guzzlers that we all drive around in our communities. And this was pretty much pricing companies out of creating the regular SUVs and pickup trucks that they've made for so many years and forcing them to quickly pivot their business model entirely to these more expensive electric vehicles that frankly can't go very far yet and constantly need to be recharged.
Ultimately, Sam, overall, where do you see the CAFE standards well, let's say in the next 50 years? Obviously, we're focusing on right now up to 2031, but dear God, we know it will continue.
Yeah, I think that the Democrats will continue to try to leverage this policy to push for an essentially complete entire transition into electric vehicles as they try to fuel their, clean energy economy. But I think that the Republicans will continue to push back against it, and hopefully we'll look at policies such as the renewable fuel standard, which forces ethanol into our gasoline, and other policies that have continued to overregulate the auto industry and really jack up prices and try to decide preemptively for consumers what they want.
Well said. Yet again, Mr. Sam Rouse with Young Voices joining us right here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me on today, Guy.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, could a ceasefire deal in Gaza be on the brink of collapsing? Harley Lipman, foreign policy expert, joins us next right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, taking you now to the state of Florida, where a Muslim group now suing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over terrorist designation. Let's take a live look in.
Is engaging in a modern form of McCarthyism that threatens the work of all communities engaged in anti-war, anti-imperialist, and human rights defense. The National Lawyers Guild stands alongside CARE and all Muslim-led institutions targeted by state repression. We call on legal advocates, civil rights organizations, bar associations, and elected officials to publicly reject this designation, continue supporting CARE, and prepare for necessary constitutional litigation. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much.
At this point, we'll open the floor to questions you may have.
What is your response to the governor's statements today that he welcomes this lawsuit because it gives him the chance and gives his legal team the chance to go through various aspects of discovery and learn more about the inner workings of your organization?
We welcome it as well, and we will see him in the courtroom.
What's your response to, not response, but what's your view of people who might say, I don't have time to follow the ins and outs of civil rights law. I am busy making ends meet. I have lots to do in my life. For groups out there, for people out there who aren't necessarily Muslim or members of a minority community, what is your comment to them about the dangers of going down a slippery slope when one group gets attacked from a civil rights perspective?
If you study the trajectory of our history, you'll see that these types of attacks were made against multiple minority groups in the past. So you have the Jewish community, the Italian community, the Irish community, the Japanese, the Vietnamese, the African Americans, and continuously you see these attacks against these minority groups whenever there is some type of discomfort that our politicians face. And so what I would say is this is an attack on our Constitution. An attack on care is an attack on our liberties, it's an attack on our Constitution. And if you care about upholding the Constitution, if you are truly America first, then you have to prioritize fighting against these types of attacks and standing with minority groups, whether they're the Muslim community or any other minority group, because today the Muslims, tomorrow somebody else.
Yet again, a representative from the Muslim rights group suing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over terrorist designation. We'll continue to monitor that throughout the afternoon right here on the Live Zone. Meanwhile, Hamas is expected to hand over the body of the last Israeli captive held in Gaza in the coming days and has commented, well, that they will also look at freezing its weapons to facilitate entering the second phase of the ceasefire. All this as top Israeli officials now believe the second phase of the ceasefire would be challenging to achieve, but that it could begin as soon as this month. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Harley Littman, foreign policy expert back here on the Live Zone. Harley, it's been quite some time. Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you as well.
So, Harley, I'm curious. Let's start off with how phase one of the ceasefire has gone thus far. Your take on all of it?
I think it's going incredibly well, given all the challenges. You have Israeli hostages who have been released, and nobody is really being killed anymore, with some exceptions when you have Hamas terrorists opening fire on Israeli soldiers, but these are rare and somewhat isolated. Other than that, there's no more fighting on a large scale, which was killing Israelis, Hamas, innocent Palestinians. So overall, I give it an A.
Yeah. On the flip side of the coin, Harley, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, there are some who are stating that since the ceasefire began back on October 10th, Israel has broken it more than 590 times, killing at least 360 Palestinians and sending the total death toll in Gaza from 2 years of attacks above 70,000. Your response to that?
Well, that data is coming from a Hamas-controlled entity. That's the Gaza Ministry of Health. So obviously that can't be reliable, and it's actually the opposite. Israel has not violated the ceasefire, except when it's been attacked by Hamas fighters, or Israel feels threatened by Hamas fighters that are about to attack Israel. So other than that, Israel is honoring the ceasefire. But as we've seen in the last war, Hamas has won the propaganda war, and they continue to do so, even though the reality is very different.
Harley, let's talk about the aid, or perhaps the lack thereof, currently in the Gaza region. Does that remain in play? Would you say that the aid is making its way through those who are in dire need?
Yeah, there are 600 trucks that are going through regularly on a daily basis. Before the war, about 500 trucks were going in. So it's still a challenge when you have a country as destroyed as Gaza. So think about how difficult that is. But food is going in. The problem is, as it was before during the war, is that Hamas is stealing the food, because they steal the food and then charge exorbitant prices to the poor Palestinians in Gaza. And that's how they raise money to fund their war. So there was even a report from the UN, which is more pro-Palestinian and more pro-Hamas than they are pro-Israeli. And even they said 85% of their trucks with food supplies was stolen by Hamas. So it speaks for itself.
Harley, we know that at the end of December, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is due to sit down yet again with President Trump. The question I pose to you is, what needs to happen in order for the meeting to be deemed a success?
Well, that speaks to the next phase that you were referring to. The next phase in the 20-point peace plan put together by Trump with allies and friends in the Middle East is that Hamas disarms and Israel withdraws. But now Hamas is very clever. So they're saying, oh, they'll only disarm if Israel withdraws first. But that's clearly not going to happen. Israel controls nearly half of Gaza, which, as part of the peace plan, Israel said it will not occupy Gaza. It will not annex any land from Gaza. But this is part of a phased peace plan. So for it to be a success would be where somehow they're getting Hamas to disarm. And they talk, and Hamas talks about freezing their weapons or putting them away, but that's where the devil's in the details. How are we going to know how many weapons they're really hiding? And when they freeze it, who's going to control it? So if Hamas wants to get access to it, could they get to it quickly, which would make a concession there meaningless if Hamas could quickly get their weapons back? So the key part to this plan is disarming Hamas, and then Israel also is required to withdraw from Gaza. This sounds like a fair and reasonable arrangement, but I don't. It's going to be extremely difficult to implement.
Yeah, and yet again, I would suspect that the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will face a lot of flack as a result of that, should that not happen. Would you agree?
I don't see how any Israeli prime minister could stay in office if they leave an armed Hamas in power, for the simple reason that Hamas has repeatedly said they'll do October 7th again many times. So no nation could ignore a warning that threatens their existence, or at least threatens their civilian population. So Israel may have to do something if the international community doesn't, which is going to be, but there's no appetite in Israel for any war to continue in Gaza. So it's going to be very difficult. Now, that said, there are three options that one could follow. One is that Hamas could surrender. They could perhaps be given safe passage out of the country. Or there could be some group that could come in and be able to take their weapons. But that's going to prove very difficult because nobody wants to go into Gaza in terms of reconstruction or peacekeeping if Hamas is still armed.
Yet again, Mr. Harley Littman, foreign policy expert, joining us right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Sir, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, could it be the Fed reducing interest rates? We'll discuss that next and so much more right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, the Federal Reserve is expected to reduce interest rates this week. Fed watchers say the cut, if it happens, may be a way to prevent further slowing in the labor market. Recent unemployment claims suggest that labor market is finally cooling. Meanwhile, investors are in a standby mode, waiting to see what happens next. To discuss what might be on the horizon, we welcome in Gerson Gibbs, managing partner with Bellet Capital. Gerson, always good to see you, my friend. Welcome back to the show.
Great seeing you guys. Thank you for having me.
All right, this has a lot of folks talking, and in this case, I want to know what you think. And so, what are you thinking right now surrounding all of this, and will there be an interest rate cut sometime this week?
Well, just based on just how the past few months have gone, with the government shutdown and a lot of the vital information that was needed in order to determine whether there was going to be a drop in interest rates. You know, it got delayed, a lot of backlogs. So my expectation is there is definitely going to be another cut tomorrow.
So what would another interest rate cut do to really help the economy?
Interest rates lower, it just makes it a lot easier to borrow money. It makes it a lot easier to borrow against homes, finance, and cars. Just makes money cheaper to borrow. With higher interest rates, you know, the average individual is just experiencing a bit of a hard time obtaining some of those loans for mortgages, you know, so on and so forth for the ordinary things in life.
Yeah, Gerson, it's no secret. We know the president and the chairman of the Fed, well, let's just say they've been bumping heads, to say the least. Is it fair to say that the Fed chairman finally caved in?
Well, I think the economy forced them to just make the reductions. We're seeing the jobs numbers a little bit are trickling in following the government shutdown. And we're just seeing that the economy is suffering if the interest rate stay this high. They're trying to get spenders buying, get individual folks into homes. They're trying to make a lot of things change in order to entice the economy and spending. So this is just extremely important for them to reduce the interest rates.
Yeah, Gerson, I can tell you a lot of folks watching right now, they're saying, hey, sounds good. I think I understand. I somewhat understand, but how does this affect me? That's what I really want to know. And in this case, how can we as consumers really take advantage of an interest rate cut?
Well, again, it just makes money easier to borrow. I know there's individuals out there that were holding tight to the money just because of the news around these tariffs. You know, this entire year, a lot of folks have been holding their money pretty closely because they were unsure of what was going to occur in the economy. And I think just with the news of lowering interest rates, it just gives people another opportunity to revisit purchasing a home, revisit purchasing a car. You know, the tariffs are kind of holding steady right now, and I think it's just overall better for the economy. So for the average folk, I think it's just great news, something to look forward to. And the big news in the market is mortgages. If mortgages drop a little bit, we'll get more Americans into homes. And I know that this administration is really big on getting Americans into homes.
Yeah, it's all about attaining the American dream, and hopefully that will become a reality for a number of Americans. You made mention of the everyday American, investors. There are a lot of folks that say, you know what, I want to invest my money and perhaps make more money. Obviously, that's the goal. What will this Fed cut do for that?
I just think studying the markets, I believe that the markets have kind of been holding steady in anticipation of this interest rate drop. So they have already been putting the resources towards getting things more out to clients. So these clients could believe in their businesses a little more and ultimately invest more into these companies. The markets have been holding pretty steady. And I think that another drop in interest rates is just going to help the overall finance industry, just showing that there's some kind of forward movement in the overall economy. I think that just boosts investments overall across the board.
Yeah. All right. So we've looked ahead to see what will likely happen on Wednesday. The question is, what's going to happen come 2026? And looking ahead to next year, your prediction to where interest rates might be headed?
I think that they're going to continue to drop. I think that we're going to get way below the threes. I think that, again, the government shutdown pushed a lot of crucial information that was needed to make the adequate decisions. So now that that information is being obtained, I think that at least for the next quarter or possibly two, there'll be another drop. You know, the whole thing is about, you know, this administration has really been pushing Americans to spend more, and that is completely correlated with the interest rates. So I see it dropping within the next 1 or 2 quarters, and I see spending increasing, and I see the markets booming a little bit with relation to all of these things happening.
And so with that, we'll have to just keep our fingers crossed. Yet again, Gerson Gibbs, managing partner of Bellet Capital, joining us right here on the Live Zone. We truly appreciate your time.
Thank you, Guy. Have a good one, buddy.
As coming up in just a second, we're talking cold hard cash. Apparently, that's what many of you want for Christmas. Annie Mae joins us next for our Tuesday Talkers right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. She is back.
In
Annie
the
Mae.
flesh. Hello.
Hello. I thought maybe perhaps you were helping Santa. You've been gone for quite some time.
Oh my gosh, I wish I was helping Santa
Yeah.
Claus. I love Santa Claus.
Well, okay. Well, just Santa
He
needs to
is-
bring me a gift or two this year.
He has elves, so.
He does.
He has elves that can figure that out.
All right.
I'm in the market for buying all my, I guess, friends and family gifts and stuff. So here we are. I bought everything already.
Did you?
I have like one thing left. That's
Oh my
it.
gosh. You know when I
Where'd you
go
go?
shopping? On Christmas Day.
You are the worst. Men. I'm convinced it's men.
True story. CVS,
My
it's a
dad-
lifesaver.
Literally, my dad's like, Walmart, Christmas socks. I'm like, that's not a gift. That's a stocking stuffer.
Annie Mae joining us for our Tuesday Talkers right here on the Live Zone. Hey, what do you want? Well, I guess we don't know what you want because you didn't tell us, but I know what most Americans want. That happens to be hard, cold cash, or
Yeah.
cold, hard cash, however you want to say it. In this case, 5,000 Americans all across 50 states were asked in a survey about what they would rather receive for Christmas. More than half said they'd prefer to receive money. So, is that the way to go, Annie Mae?
I mean, like, I'm never gonna say no to a fat stack of cash, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's just not very thoughtful. I would almost rather get a gift card than I would cash. And I understand people are gonna be like, no, well, you can't pay your rent with a gift card.
Yeah.
You can with a Built gift card if you have Built rewards. I do. Anyway, not a plug. Anyway, trust me, paying my rent is not a plug. So I think people are going to say that, right? You can't pay gas, you can't pay your rent, whatever,
Yeah.
with a gift card. But I think it shows that you put at least a little bit more thought into it. And for me, I think that's what it's like about.
I don't know. I mean, the cash is really cool, but you know, we all say it's the thought that really matters. And
Yeah.
so maybe, let's say you put it inside of a card, a handwritten card that you
Yeah.
wrote. It shows me that, you know, you really care, you're really thinking about me versus
Yeah.
just the cash.
Not like slipping me a 20 and being like, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I think I have some,
I'm like,
matter of
thanks.
fact. Well, here you go. Merry Christmas.
10? A 10 guy?
Guess what?
I can't even get Chipotle with a 10.
I just found that on the street, by the way, too. Let's move on. Some very exciting news for Starbucks customers. The coffee house barista Cold Cup is back, but it's not a restock in the way fans were hoping. You have to win it, Annie Mae, in the Starbucks for Life holiday game.
Yay!
The game opened up to Starbucks Rewards members yesterday, and Starbucks says some 600 barista cups will be available to win each day until January 4th. Is this right up your alley?
Oh yeah, I every year I lose, but I play the Starbucks for Life game. So basically you go and you can like, sometimes you can like spin stuff and go and play different games and whatever, and then basically you'll win like a lot, or you'll win like Starbucks for a year. Or Starbucks for a year is like the big thing. So I mean, this is just another thing that's a pretty good prize, I guess, for them to play that game, and people always end up playing and buying more, and you get basically more spins for each thing you buy from Starbucks. So it ends up being a fun way you can kind of get rewards.
Yeah, I like it because, to your point, it's keeping people, let's say, engaged with the whole Starbucks thing.
And buying your stuff.
I don't know anything about it.
Because otherwise, I wouldn't necessarily go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Dunkin' girl, like through and through.
Yes, I knew
love
it. Yeah.
Dunkin', but like that doesn't mean I don't go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
I go like in a pinch, and it's the one that's closest to our studio, so sometimes I'll go. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it makes it more fun. So I totally get the lure.
I'm more of a Dunkin' guy simply because I don't speak Starbucks. It's like the, what is the small called?
A tall. Yeah.
Wait, why is it not called small? Thank you very much.
Joey's laughing. He's like, yeah.
Producer Joey with more than that to say.
Okay, what I got to say is Waymo fight. Take a look at this, guys. And in San Francisco, there was a 3 Waymo self-driving cars at a standstill. 2 of them appeared to hit each other, while a third pulled up beside them. Residents say the street is a dead end. The Waymos are actually blocking people from leaving. This is interesting because yesterday I made a video you can see on the Fox 5 DC Instagram and TikTok about Waymos being delayed coming to DC, and I asked people's opinions, and here we have no ban. Seen too many of them malfunctioning. Guys, what do you think about Waymos in DC?
Joey, your first problem is you read the comments. That's the first problem. But I do agree with the, I mean, to say that we didn't see this coming?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been complaining about Waymos, obviously, your traffic reporter here at Fox 5. Not exactly a big fan of a driverless car. You know, so.
I've actually ridden in one. I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and I ordered one, and it was the coolest thing. I mean, it was, I think it was, what, 9 o'clock at night? I was going home from a restaurant, but to the hotel. And it followed all the rules, no traffic violations. At first you're a little nervous, and then you're like, wow, this is really kind of cool. The main thing is that there's no one in the front seat, like, listening to my conversation while on the phone.
Yeah. I'm not sold with Waymos. I don't ever want to drive in one. And I just don't think it makes any sense because there's so many different times that you're sitting here and you're, being guided by somebody like a police officer, like with their hands, and stoplights don't work, and there's a pothole here that it doesn't get. Like, I just don't think that it's going to have the same reaction time as an actual personal driver. Even though there are horrible drivers out there that are probably worse than a Waymo. But like, I get that side of things too, but overall, not for me.
I think you hit the nail on that one. Worst drivers out there. We see it every day.
We see you, DMV.
Annie Mae with our 2 state talkers, with an assist by producer Joey, joining us right here on the LZ. I appreciate you. We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, taking you now to Massachusetts, where the Brian Walsh murder trial continues for a 7th day. We can tell you yesterday, never before seen footage was shown in court as Walsh's murder trial entered its 2nd week. He's accused of dismembering and killing his wife, Anna Walsh. Let's go ahead and take a live look in.
When did you become involved again in this process for these samples?
I then performed the 4th step, separation and detection.
Okay. And can you please tell this jury how you did that 4th step?
So the same person, Katerina Stashin, performed the 3rd step. I received the product produced in the 3rd step from her. I applied another set of chemicals to it and put it on an instrument that separates each of the copies of the DNA by size. And then with the help of some special software, it turns it into a visual representation of the DNA profile.
And did you use any equipment?
Yes, I did.
And what equipment did you use?
This was a 3500 genetic analyzer.
Okay. And then what is the data next ready for in the process?
After the data is reviewed, it's ready for use in comparisons.
Okay. And who did the interpretation and comparison here?
In this case, it was Katerina Stashin as well.
And did you do any other work on these samples?
No, I did not.
I have no further questions.
Cross-exam? The witness may step down.
Thank you.
Commonwealth may call its next witness.
The Commonwealth would call Katerina Stashin.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give in the cause now and hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Right this way. Just watch your step for me.
Thank
Step
you.
all the way. A little bit further. There you go.
You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Can you please state your name and spell your whole name for the record?
Good afternoon. My name is Katerina Stashin. First name is spelled Katarina. Last name is spelled Stashyn.
And what is your current occupation, ma'am?
I'm currently a criminalist in the biology section at the Washoe County Sheriff's Office Crime Lab located in Reno, Nevada.
And can you please detail your work history as it applies to forensic sciences?
I was previously a forensic scientist in the DNA unit at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Laboratory for about 3.5 years, from 2021 to earlier this year, 2025, when I got the opportunity to move back to Nevada to be closer to family and pursue a job still as a DNA analyst.
And what is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's and master's degree in biotechnology from the University of Nevada, Reno.
And do you have any specialized training to be a DNA analyst?
Yes, I received training at both the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab and at my current job in Washoe County. In Massachusetts, I completed an approximately 1-year-long training program that consisted of reading scientific protocols, scientific literature, textbooks, all on the topics of forensic DNA analysis. I also took written exams and oral exams on those topics. I also practiced sets in the lab, both for laboratory processing and for DNA interpretation. Put together practice case files, wrote reports, did comparisons, and all of that training completed with a competency test, of which I passed. And then at Washoe County, I completed an approximately 6-month-long training course due to my experience, where I also did review of scientific literature, textbooks, protocols, practice sets, writing practice reports, performing comparisons or interpretation, et cetera. And that also completed with a competency test, of which I passed.
And have you also had proficiency testing?
Yes, I have also completed proficiency testing.
And have you passed those tests as well?
Yes, I have passed all competency and proficiency testing that I've taken so far.
And have you testified in Massachusetts about DNA?
Yes, I have.
So what is a single source DNA profile?
A single source DNA profile is a profile that originates from one person or one contributor. And you can identify this in a profile. Just by looking at the profile, you can see how many people are in there.
And what is a known standard?
A known standard is a sample that's taken directly from an individual. For example, a sample from somebody's mouth, a saliva swab, or a blood sample. It's taken directly from a person to be used for comparison purposes.
And how is a known standard developed into a DNA profile?
A known standard will go through the four-step laboratory process to result in a DNA profile that can then be used for comparisons.
And the four-step process is what?
The four-step laboratory process for DNA analysis is extraction, quantification, amplification, and detection.
So prior to doing any work, how do you prepare your work area?
So when you first get into the lab to do any of those steps, you're going to clean your lab bench. So that involves using a bleach spray to wipe down your area. You're going to clean all of the equipment, utensils, your pens, pipettes, any equipment that you're using. And then me as a person or any lab analyst, you'll be wearing a lab coat, a face mask, a hairnet. You're in full PPE, wearing gloves, changing gloves frequently.
Why do you clean your area and wear PPE?
We do this just to keep everything perfectly clean, or the cleanest that we can, just to help the integrity of the evidence and help produce the best possible profile.
Now I'm going to direct your attention to Massachusetts Case Lab 23-00596. Did you do work on this case?
Yes, I did.
And what did you do on the known standards in this case?
I performed the sample prep, the extraction, and the amplification on the known standards in this case.
And did you also do interpretation on this case?
Yes, I also reviewed the profiles that were obtained from that process and made sure they were able to be used for comparison purposes.
So I want to ask you about each of the things that you just told us about. So were you working on 13-1 and 13-2, is that correct?
Correct.
And what were those?
Those were the known saliva standards for both Anna Walsh and Brian Walsh.
And so what was 13-1?
13-1 was the known saliva standard for Anna Walsh.
And what was 13-2?
13-2 was the known saliva standard for Brian Walsh.
And how did you do the sample prep for 13-1?
So both of these samples were known saliva samples, so a swab from the mouth, and I just cut up the swab and placed the cotton part of the swab into a tube, a labeled tube with those item numbers that I said.
Okay, so that's what you did for 13-1, and then did you give it another number?
So once I cut that swab off, it then became 13-1.1.
And so did you do the same thing for 13-2?
Yes, so then the cotton that got cut off of the whole swab became 13-2.1.
Okay. And then after you did that sample prep, what did you next do?
Then those samples went through the extraction step of the process.
And how did you do the extraction step?
So extraction consists of adding chemicals to the samples and going through heat variation to help break open the cells present in the sample and release the DNA that is present, and then that DNA is isolated.
And did you use equipment for that?
Yes.
What equipment?
An incubator was used for that heat variation that I mentioned, and an Easy One robot was used for the extraction part, meaning that after it sat in the incubator with the chemicals to break open the cells, a robot is used to isolate that DNA from the rest of the cellular debris left behind.
So you told us about sample prep and step 1. Did you do the next step, step 2?
No.
Why not?
It's just based on scheduling at the lab who was assigned to do what step that day.
And who did that next step?
The second step of quantification was performed by Karen Jacobson.
Were you qualified to do all of the steps?
Yes.
And so what did you next do?
I next did the amplification step, that third step I mentioned.
And how did you perform the amplification step?
So amplification is the third step, and this is when we make millions and millions of copies of certain fragments of DNA. So this is done by, again, adding certain chemicals and going through heat cycles to make these many millions of copies of DNA. Because we're usually working with a smaller amount of DNA, you need to make a lot of copies to make it visual and able to be detected.
Did you use equipment?
Yes.
What equipment?
We use what is called a thermal cycler, and this is the instrument that performs those heat cycles needed to make the copies.
So did you do the next step, the fourth step?
No.
Who did that?
Karen Jacobson also performed the fourth step of detection.
So then what did you do next?
So after that full laboratory process was completed, I looked at the data that was produced from those 4 steps, and both items resulted with DNA profiles that I reviewed and made sure were acceptable to be used for DNA comparisons.
And could you visualize a single source?
Yes.
Right. And did you generate a DNA profile for Anna Walsh?
Yes.
And did you generate a DNA profile for Brian Walsh?
Yes.
And were profile sources developed that were appropriate for comparison?
Yes, the profiles developed were acceptable to be used for comparisons.
And they were both single sources?
Yes.
What does appropriate for comparison mean?
When I'm saying appropriate for comparison, I mean that the profile is full, as in data is obtained at every location that was tested, and that it is single source.
And what do you do with the profiles?
That profile is then made into a text file that is made available for the analyst that's going to be doing the comparisons.
And were the profiles assigned a number to identify them?
Yes. So the numbers for the profiles are the same as their item number. So the text file profile for Anna Walsh also had the number of 13-1.1, and the text file profile for Brian Walsh was 13-2.1.
If I might have 1 second, Your Honor.
You may.
You have been listening to testimony from a forensic scientist as Day 7 continues surrounding the murder trial of Mr. Brian Walsh. His wife, Anna Walsh, was reported missing back in January of 2023. The mother of 3 had booked a flight right here to the nation's capital, D.C. to be exact, where she worked, but she never made it onto the flight. Her body still has not been found. We'll take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, we're discussing all things surrounding anti-Semitism. That and so much more coming up next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. As anti-Semitic incidents surge across the U.S. and Canada, new national data reveals a widening spread of extremist rhetoric that is moving into mainstream political and civic life. Joining us now is Aviva Klumpis. She is the CEO of Boundless Israel and one of the nation's leading analysts tracking anti-Semitism and community response across North America. I should also make mention her team maps incidents, campus trends, and the spread of extremist ideology throughout America as well. She just had a high-level meeting with more than 200 mayors in New Orleans last week. She joins us now on the Live Zone. Aviva, always good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
But of course, for viewers who may not be following the national numbers, how would you really describe anti-Semitism right now in the U.S. and Canada?
It's an absolute crisis, is what I would say. Jews account for just 2% of the population in the United States, but we account for about 40% of the hate crimes, religiously motivated hate crimes that are committed. My organization, Boundless, recently did a study. We wanted to understand the impact of 2 years of war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza on how Jews are viewed in the United States. And we found that 42% of Americans don't distinguish between the Israeli government and Jewish people. So people are taking out their feelings about the war on Jewish Americans.
Very interesting. Out of curiosity, what indicators most clearly show that North America is approaching, to what you maybe stated, a breaking point?
Absolutely. I'll give you some more of the findings from our study. 41% of Americans don't think it's anti-Semitic to claim that Jews are more loyal to Israel than to the United States. That's an old trope that has been heard throughout the years. And we recently just heard Marjorie Taylor Greene say that the reason she's fallen out of favor with President Trump is because he has become disloyal and puts the interest of Israel first. It's a tired old accusation. And you know that you're on the sliding scale to being irrelevant when basically whatever the political problems are in this country, you're trying to pin on Israel or the Jews. Our same study found that 38% of Americans don't think it's a problem to go and protest outside of a synagogue. So they're seeing synagogues, Jewish houses of worship, as legitimate places for political protest. Now, we wouldn't tolerate that against any other community, but it's become acceptable here in America. And similarly, 20% of Americans say it's acceptable to go and boycott Jewish-owned businesses. So once again, in case after case, we see examples of how Americans are blaming Jews for the problems of a country 6,000 miles away.
Yeah, gosh, yet again, very interesting information. I'm curious, what are you hearing from Jewish families on the ground? Mainly parents, and I bring that up because they now fear for their children in schools and on campuses, do they not?
Absolutely. What we're hearing time and again is the price that Jewish kids are paying because of this explosion of anti-Semitism. So, for example, kids are feeling really scared to wear a Star of David. They're feeling scared to wear a kippah. They're feeling scared just to let people know that they are Jewish, and they're paying the price in terms of exclusion. While closer to October 7th, we might have seen protests on campus, the encampments, very loud public displays. What we're seeing now is sort of a quiet social crisis where Jews are being pushed out of social circles. They're not being included in clubs, in school groups. They're being ostracized by their friends. And that's that type of quiet anti-Semitism that is making it so hard for Jewish kids across this country.
Well, last week, your colleague, Sasha, helped convene more than 200 mayors in New Orleans alone to discuss coordinated responses to anti-Semitism. What was the big takeaway?
Yeah, so Sasha is a good friend. He is the head of Combat Anti-Semitism Movement, an organization that we work very closely with. And we brought together almost 200 mayors and municipal leaders from across North America to talk about anti-Semitism, to learn from one another, and to discuss how we can better protect the citizens of this country, all of them. Because the safety of no group should be dependent on the policies or actions of some government on the other side of the world. And we know that when we allow bigotry to take root and fester in one community, you are just allowing bigotry to take root across our society. And it's going to lead to more polarization and more tribalism and just make all of us more vulnerable to division and injustice. So these mayors came together, and it was incredibly heartening to see so many people come together to talk about anti-Semitism. And we talked about some of the things that cities can be doing, like enforcement. enhance penalties for hate crimes, so that there's more severe penalties when these incidents take place. Amend existing racial discrimination policies to include anti-Semitism. This country has decades of history in dealing with racism. Now take everything that we've learned and apply it to dealing with anti-Semitism as well. And the third thing I would say that's really important is time, place, and manner restrictions. I believe in free speech. I think it's incredibly important. I'm proud to be American. I'm proud of that right. And there is an appropriate time and place for it. Meaning your protest shouldn't be in the middle of a Jewish neighborhood while parents are trying to put their children to bed. It shouldn't be outside of a Jewish day school, and it shouldn't be outside of a Jewish house of worship. So make sure that there are proper places for people to be able to protest and express their right of speech.
Yeah, that's exactly what you and I can do on a daily basis. But what about the policymakers, the educators, and community leaders?
Absolutely. I think the response to people being worried about speech is more speech. I'm not sure that there has been a time where Jewish Americans feel more lonely and scared than they do right now. So the one thing that I would ask every person to do is simply to reach out to your Jewish friends and colleagues and neighbors and ask them how they are doing. Tell them if you are disgusted by the way that Jews are being targeted and harassed in this country. Tell them that you think that it is wrong to harass Jews, because right now the Jewish community in America is feeling gaslit. We're just wondering if anybody is noticing how very bad things have become. And on a policy level, I think one of the most important things that we can do is adhere to the penalties that exist and make the punishments more severe. Enforcement, enforcement, enforcement. And the last thing I'd want to see is anti-masking legislation. We have seen across this country people that are putting on keffiyehs, hiding their faces in order to go out and to be able to harass Jews. It happened at the conference last week. It kicked off with a parade led by the mayor of New Orleans through the streets to celebrate all these mayors coming together to address the social harm in this country. And what did we encounter? A group of keffiyeh-clad, the mob, the pro-terror-loving mob, standing there with signs, screaming, banging on drums, and just making life intolerable, not just for all of us, but for just ordinary people that are trying to go about their life, trying to go about holiday shopping in this country. And we have to make clear that hiding your face and harassing Americans is unacceptable.
And as we wrap up, Aviva, with all that being said, what gives you hope at this very moment?
Actually being together with all of those mayors, seeing this many people come together from across North America, and the commitment that they had to be able to stand up and say, there's a problem in this country. This is not how we want our communities to be. We want every Jewish person to feel as safe as every other member of our communities. That gave me an incredible amount of hope.
Well said. Yet again, Aviva Klumpis, co-founder and CEO of Boundless Israel. Thank you so much for joining us on the Live Zone. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. Coming up, did you hear? He's back in a major way. That guy right there. Can you believe it? Since 5 years ago, he hasn't played in the NFL. Well, now Rivers signs with the Colts practice squad. Producer Joanne and I discuss that and so much more coming up next right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, we're getting quite a chuckle out of this. According to ESPN just minutes ago, we got word that Philip Rivers, who has not played in the NFL since 2020, is now signing to the practice squad with the Indianapolis Colts. With starter Daniel Jones out for the season because of a torn right Achilles, and the backup Riley Leonard now dealing with a knee injury, the Colts had to turn to somebody, and in this case, they decided to turn to Philip Rivers yet again as an emergency solution. Producer Joey joining me to discuss this and so much more. I am surprised at this, Joey.
This guy doesn't need the money. He's already a Hall of Famer. This is purely for the love of the game and wanting to get out of the house. He's 44 years old. I've never been a 44-year-old playing football, but I've played Turkey Bowl with my dad on Thanksgiving, and if this goes anything like that, it's not going to be pretty. What do you think?
Yeah, well, slight correction. He is a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, class of 2026. Now, this is why it's a big deal, Joey, because if he signs to the active roster, that means his eligibility would reset, whether or not he takes a snap in the game, and he would not be eligible again until 2031. Perhaps that's a big deal for him if he wants to get into the Hall of Fame, which I'm pretty sure he does. But yet again, how old is he? 44 years old?
Yeah.
Wow. How old is Aaron Rodgers?
Why he's getting up there.
Okay.
Let's just say all these guys getting up there used to play the game where the quarterback wasn't mobile. You would sit there and then you would throw the ball. It's a different game now. I don't know how he adjusts.
The difference is your elbow didn't just pop or snap when you did that. For Philip Rivers, who is now well into his 40s, perhaps that will very well be the case. But yet again, we're updating you that Philip Rivers now signing with the practice squad for the Indianapolis Colts and hasn't played since 2020. Wow, I guess there's still a chance for me. All right, folks. Well, did you hear about it? In this case, we're talking all things holidays. In this case, yes, it's that time of the year again. You see, the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts presents its holiday production of A Christmas Carol. Oh, I cannot wait. This beloved classic brings Ebenezer Scrooge's transformative journey to life through music, magic, humor, and heartfelt storytelling. Here to tell us all about it is, well, the executive director of the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts and the director of Christmas Carol, Mr. Chris Dwyer. Good to see you, sir, and welcome to the show. Oh, I want to make sure we have you. I can't press that little mute button right there. Do we got it?
Good to go right now.
There we go. Welcome, my friend. Chris, I got to ask, before we jump into the play, I saw you chomping at the bit. I think you wanted to make a comment about Mr. Philip Rivers. You two expecting to do anything out of the ordinary in the near future?
Well, first of all, it's pretty amazing that Philip Rivers is coming back. I was actually really entertained by that segment you just posted. I'm 45 years old and I can barely get out of bed.
Well, I'm pretty sure that perhaps we would like to see you out there someday. Maybe not. In this case, we'll focus on the bigger and better things. We're talking about Christmas Carol. I am so excited about this. Yes, officially, it is the holiday season, and this production is truly unlike any other. Do tell.
All right. Well, you know, one of the things that we're doing with A Christmas Carol here is, first of all, we're telling that timeless story of Ebenezer Scrooge, who's sort of caught up in his material wealth, and then he starts to forget about what is really important, and that is his community, and that is his family. So those are the things that we try to remember during times like this. What makes this production unique is, and you know, I hate to say it this way, is we've made it for the iPhone generation. So what we have is a lot of moving parts. We have a lot of projection. We have a lot of different scene shifting. We have snow that happens. We have interpretive ways of flying around the stage. We have all sorts of really entertaining things, and then we pack it into about a 70-minute show with no intermission, which is perfect for the family.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting that you say that with regard to the iPhone generation, which, by the way, I'm somewhat offended as an Android user, but we'll just leave that for another time. But, Chris, talk about the attention span or the lack thereof, folks, during this day and age, and perhaps that's why you decided to go down that route.
Well, and I don't necessarily blame people for the lack of attention span. It's just that it's our ability to receive information so quickly. And what I want to do with this show is be able to get that story across to people in just a very visceral way. I was always a very visual learner myself. I really like to see just my eyes pop and sort of epic adventures and things like that. So really it was due to my lack of attention span and my need to see something visceral, and then to put in that language straight from the short story, straight from Charles Dickens, and then cast it with a cast of people that are reflective of the diversity of our great Prince George's County.
Yeah, and I'm hoping you could talk about the cast. We see them right there on the TV screen. So I'm seeing some powerhouses, if you will. Yet again, folks that have decided to sign up and make this production unlike any other.
Yeah, so we're very fortunate to have a lot of returning performers for our third annual production of A Christmas Carol. We have Shaquille Stewart, who is coming back, Gary Dubril, who lives right here in Bowie. Both of those guys are huge names within the DC theater community, as well as Matthew Pauly. We have a surprise at the end of the show. I don't want to give it away too much, but it has to do with a puppet that is about 12 feet tall that comes out and visits Scrooge right there at the end. So like I say, we're making it visceral. We're making it something that's not too scary for the kids. And then we're going to get you out of the theater in time to have a good dinner.
Yeah, the play currently underway. The production officially started December the 6th and lasts through the 21st. One of the things that I love yet again about this, Chris, is that you get an opportunity to sit down with the family. I mean, it is the holiday season, and I don't care how many times you have seen this production, Ebenezer Scrooge never gets old.
No, he doesn't. And what else doesn't get old is just remembering the reason for the season. And that is, with your family, that is with the people that you love. And just to take a step back and not take those things for granted, because we're not given an unlimited amount of time. And spending that time with the people that you love, that's what this is all about. And that's the lesson that Scrooge learns.
I absolutely love it. Yet again, A Christmas Carol now underway at the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts. We've been speaking with Mr. Chris Dwyer. Good to see you, sir. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, speaking of Christmas carols, that guy is back. Kenny Geico with a brand new Christmas song. He joins us next, right here on the Live Zone.
Mistletoe, lots of snow and ice everywhere we go. Choir singing carols right outside my door. Oh, all these things and more.
That's the man with the master plan. What Christmas Means to Me by Kenny Aiko. Yet again, joining us right here on the live zone. Good to see you, my man.
Good to see you, sir. How you doing?
It's so funny. I'm seeing you here. I saw you here about a month ago, and I'm seeing you everywhere.
Yes, that's the goal. That's the goal.
That is awesome. Recently off The Voice, and man, you are the voice, I would say,
appreciate
with regard to what you do. You performed that song earlier today on Good Day DC, and it's funny because you just sat here and you said, "This is my first time watching it."
I didn't watch it back yet. Yeah.
How does that feel to see yourself perform?
It's crazy. I'm used to it now because even with the show, we tape it and then I don't see it until it airs. So I'm like, finally, when you finally see it, it's just like you relive it again. Like, all the nerves and everything comes back.
Are you your biggest critic, would you say?
No, I would say my mom.
Never fails.
I say my mom.
Never fails. Obviously, that song, What Christmas Means to Me, is a Stevie Wonder classic. And to think that you are now blessing us with your vocals, singing a Stevie Wonder song, what does that mean to you?
Oh, man, it means everything. Stevie's a legend in the game, and I got the chance to meet him over the summer, so it's like full circle moment, just wanted to pay homage to him and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny, I think of, when I think of the holidays, I think of certain things. For me, let's say maybe a little hot cocoa by the fire.
Yeah.
All right, with a little extra in it. But just a little something. But I'm curious, what the holidays, what do they mean to you, and what memories do you have of the holidays as a kid?
For me, it's just family. Because everyone lives in different places, and especially this year, I've been super busy. So I haven't really been able to see my family as much. So holidays is the best time, and you get around your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins. You get that family vibe. It's just like nothing like it.
Yeah, I wonder why you've been quite busy, my friend, because you, in essence, were all things The Voice.
Yes.
I just sit here and I think about every time I would turn on the TV and watch a different episode with you on it. I'm just like, wow, I know that guy. How has your life changed since then?
Yeah. It's just, everything's fast-paced now. Like everything, like all the events, all the bookings and things like that, and then just the meetings that I'm having that I never thought I would be having. And I'm just so happy about what the future is about to hold.
From a creative standpoint, what are your thoughts on that? Meaning, it's so funny. Who was it? Erykah Badu. I'm sensitive about my stuff.
I'm sensitive about mine.
Right. So, are you the same way with regard to the music you put out?
Yes, I am, and to an extent because I write most of my music, so I'm definitely always nervous about do people understand this or will they get it or will they vibe with it. But at the same time, I'm just so hungry, so I just want to put music out. And I know this is not the last song we'll put out, so I just keep going.
Yeah. It's not only do you put it out, but you hit notes. Mariah Carey, watch out now. Because that falsetto you have, including the one I heard you sing in the song earlier today,
sir.
That's not easy. And I harken back, and it's probably before your time, and everybody's going to say, Guy, you're old. But I remember when Tevin Campbell performed on Arsenio Hall, which, if you can recall, you watched the Halloween show, that's who I dressed up as. I say all that to say is that it was a live performance, and he couldn't hit the note because his voice changed from when he recorded it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm curious. And I remember he just kept on singing, hey, it happens.
Keep going.
I would be so nervous.
Nah, I used to be. I used to be
Really?
nervous, and then I trust my voice. I trust the gift God gave me. So I'm like, even if I didn't rehearse it, I know it's going to come out some way. We're going to get it somehow.
Is there a certain, let's say, warm-up routine that you have?
I drink a lot of water, honey.
Really?
And that's it.
Wow. Yeah, truly amazing. We got to go back and rewind that part so we can play it again so folks can see that part where you hit the high note. Or better yet, they can watch you this upcoming Thursday. You have a major event you're taking part in.
Yes, sir, man. It's my first time performing at the MGM at Felt Lounge with 93.9 Magic and Urban Radio.
Yeah, it's just going to be so cool. By the way, I love Felt. It's an amazing venue.
Yeah.
But for you to get there and to be at home.
At home.
Performing.
Yes,
the difference between being at home versus, let's say, being in L.A.
It's definitely a hometown vibe. It's definitely, I'm excited to see all the fans, all the supporters that I have, especially in my hometown, to see me perform live.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I got to
I'm
tell
excited.
you. Yeah, you and me both. Maybe. Well, I was hoping you'd hit that high note here, and then I'm just playing. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen him on The Voice. You've seen him on The Live Zone. You saw him perform earlier today on Good Day DC, and you can continue to follow him. How can folks do that? Kenny
at I am Kenny Aiko, or just Kenny Aiko.
Absolutely love it. Ladies and gentlemen, he joined us right here on the live zone. Always good to see you, my man.
Good to see you, boss. Thank you for having me.
You bet. We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back. All right, folks, just like that, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Time for a little Celebrity Dish now. And joining us as he does each and every Tuesday, look who's back. Yes, the media prince. Good to see you, my friend.
It's good to be seen. How are you? We are live in the zone.
Well, we are live in a major way, and it always gets live when I get a chance to see you. I love those glasses. That's something new there, media prince.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am just pulling them out the package. So they're getting seen first here right now on the Live Zone. This is a Live Zone exclusive.
Well, you do it oh so well. We got a lot to jump into, so let's do just that. In this case, we're going to kick it off with the docuseries Sean Combs' The Reckoning has overtaken Stranger Things on the Netflix Top 10 chart, media prince. The news comes as 50 Cent, who's the executive producer of the documentary, recently teased about a potential season 2. Now, the 4-part series details decades of allegations against embattled hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Among the allegations includes claims that Diddy put a $1 million hit out on Tupac Shakur, charged Biggie's funeral to his estate, and tried to avoid paying victims of the 1991 City College tragedy. Diddy has since spoken out against the show, calling it a shameful hit piece. What are you thinking about this, media prince?
You want to know what's so funny? I watched the 4-part last night. I watched all 4 long parts. I could have dealt with just 2 parts. I didn't even know that much about Diddy's life. I already knew he was a monster. I didn't need a full-blown out diaphragm of how much of a monster. But it was really insightful of what we didn't know and how much things were in plain sight of what was happening within Diddy. And of course, around that era, I was a kid, so I wasn't really like understanding, but now seeing it, I'm putting all things together. But also, 50 Cent is quite petty, and I didn't put this together until this morning, Guy, that 50 Cent and Diddy have had some beef for a very long time, going back to 50 Cent's song, How to Rob. And now, to today, you know, that whole love triangle with Diddy, Young Miami, and the other young lady happens to be the mother of 50 Cent's child. So there's just so much going on. But as far as for season 2, word on the street is it may not be about Diddy. It may be about another MC that we know and love. So we're going to see exactly where this is going to go. 50 Cent is out for vengeance, and Netflix is in his pocket right now. So Who knows?
Yeah, that's what you call a tease in a major way. Jumping back to with what 50 Cent actually put together and what we saw on that 4-part series, I got to tell you, to say that there happened to be a $1 million hit on Tupac, I mean, that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. And we know at some point Diddy is going to be released from prison, and perhaps we'll have to address some of the rumors and or statements and or allegations that we saw within this 4-part docuseries. What do you think?
Get messy. The fact, y'all, this is the part that's really cringy. The fact that Diddy was able to deliver him congratulatory flowers to where he actually stays lets you know that when Diddy comes out, it's going to be something to pay. And so we have front row seat, but we just gonna have to just brace ourselves, because this won't be the end of this whole Diddy and 50 Cent debacle, and neither one of them are scared to get in the paint. So fingers crossed it doesn't lead to anything violent, but it looks like it might.
Well, let's hope not. We don't condone violence on this show, and as we all know, that's not the right way to go. But I got to tell you, it's made for a movie. Oh, they already made that movie. So I guess we'll leave it there. Hey, let's talk about something more positive. In this case, I'm making reference to Oprah Winfrey doing what she does best, bringing smiles to people each and everywhere she goes. I want you to take a look at this, media friends. It's a video posted to Instagram. As you can see, Oprah crashing a woman's 80th birthday party. How cool is that, media friends?
Really cool. Why she ain't crashed mine? Like, come on. Who is that lady? Because, hey, if you don't know her, you don't know me. Come crash mine. I'm hoping in 2026, Oprah just slides up in there. You get a car, you get a car. Everyone in here gets a car. But that's kind of monumental to just say Big O crashes your birthday party. I wonder what type of cake was that? Like, how much was that cake? Was that good Dubai chocolate cake? Like, because you know, and then what birthday gift did you get? Because don't just come to my party bringing me a cake. What are you bringing with you? Because you're Oprah.
Yeah. You know what? A couple of things. One, the 80-year-old woman looks great. Two, Oprah looks amazing here. This is my first time really seeing this video in full, and I got to tell you, Oprah seems to be doing quite well. But then again, that's what
Oprah's been outside lately. She's gotten the body that how she wants it. She's been wearing the tight-fitting clothes. She's gotten the hair laid. Oprah has been outside, ladies and gentlemen. So we are getting to know 2025 Oprah, and I'm scared of 2026 Oprah. But I'm hoping 2026 Oprah comes to me and Guy's birthday party. Unannounced, we don't care how she comes, just crash through the door and we'll be happy.
Yeah, I'm curious if you could have any celeb or anyone, whether they are still with us or not, surprise you for your birthday, who would that person be, Meaning Prince?
Well, it's a toss-up between Nicki Minaj and Rihanna.
Wow. Okay.
Either one of them, the party will go down. Or Michelle from Destiny's Child. Those are the three. Those three. And the party is going down.
I'm sorry. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, and then no slight, Michelle from Destiny. Okay, that's it's a wide range right there, media friends.
Yeah, and if you know me, everybody, if you really know me, Michelle has always been my favorite of Destiny's Child till this day. I'm any of those three, and the party is going up.
All right, let's end with this, and that is, some bosses are cool, like the guys and gals here at Fox 5, but there's only one Sherri Shepherd who had this unforgettable surprise for her producers.
Brittany Sims and Robin Montague don't know this, but they're so funny to me. I would like to officially invite both of you to open for me in Connecticut and New York. Come on the road with me, because when I tell you, these two ladies are so funny, and I want everybody else to see it, hear it, and know it. So Brittany and Robin, if you will go with me.
Wow, look at that. Sherri's Make It Make Sense tour continues into next year. Yeah, that's really cool, media friends. You gotta love it.
It's so cool, but Sherri, do I get some of the ticket sales? At the door.
Now,
It's all fine and dandy, but can I get some of that at the door? And then we can really talk.
yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they will be compensated in some way, form, or fashion. Heck, just the notoriety alone to actually open for Sherry Shepherd. I mean, yet again, how cool is that to be on the same stage?
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. That lets you know that they be cracking some real good jokes up at the Sherry show. Because in order for her to put you on, you must be saying, and hopefully HR isn't around because they saying some real jokes that really take you there. But I feel like they must have a really great team of laughed. And in order for it to be like this, that means that sister in that office is cracking some jokes that make Sherry say, you know what, it's time for you to come on outside.
Yeah. Hey, you never know. I mean, she started as a producer, and now she's actually hitting the road with Sherry Shepherd. I guess what that means, you and I, we got to put something together too, and that way I can open for you.
Too, Sherry.
We'll have to leave it there. Media Prince joining us for a little celebrity dish right here on the Live Zone. We are what, Media Prince?
We are live in the zone.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. Our Tuesday Talkers coming up next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Joined now with Tony P, host of Live Zone Primetime, along with producer Chris, right here on the LZ. What's up, my man?
How you doing? I'm back after 11 days. I was away on business in Brussels and Italy. Had a little bit of fun as well. And I got to tell you, my jet lag is still kind of, we're improving.
Yeah.
We're getting there because I did the Live Zone Primetime show from Italy.
I didn't know
from
that.
Brussels.
Wow, yeah.
6-hour difference. I was doing the show the next day in the morning. So, I didn't even know what day it was, what time it was. I thought it was in the future almost.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I'm so happy to be back in studio with Chris and everybody. It's nice to be here in person. Zoom is good.
Right.
This is a lot better.
Yeah. Going to Italy is the best, I would argue.
It is. I had a little pasta on the side during commercial breaks. I had a little pasta. And that was the best part of it. It's keep me awake and also keep me focused.
I got to tell you, everyone happens to be waiting for all the pictures, and once you get that, I guarantee you a lot of folks will
it's
want to see
coming.
that.
My travel series going up live on all the platforms this week. Can't wait.
All right. So we're talking our Tuesday Talkers. Producer Joey going to join us as well. I absolutely love this story. Not the fact that what I'm about to make mention of first, and that happens to be a gentleman, well, not a gentleman, but a convict on death row. Okay, that's the bad part.
Yes.
What he ordered for his last meal, Tony P, happens to have gone viral. His name is Harold Wayne Nicholas. Now, he ordered beef brisket, coleslaw, a baked potato, onion rings, deviled eggs, cheese biscuits with fruit tea. All for one meal for his last meal, which got a lot of folks thinking, hey, dear God, or God forbid, you happen to be on death row, don't want that, but if you had to order your last meal, what would it be?
Oh my God! So first of all, they have a great series on YouTube of all the best death row meals. This one is right now. I would say cell C or tier C.
Right.
For this one, but I'll tell you this: I would order a whole plethora of a bunch of different cuisines. We're going with hibachi food first. We have hibachi shrimp with the rice and the string beans and everything from extra ginger sauce and yum yum sauce. I'm talking big vats of them, okay? First part. Then I would do a little side appetizer, or a little bit of pasta with some arrabbiata or some pomodoro. Maybe both, who knows, right? My budget's gonna be high. Then 2 salads, all romaine lettuce, and then 1 all iceberg lettuce. And then finally for dessert, I'd have to do a nice Betty Crocker or Duncan Hines chocolate cake with some buttercream frosting.
Wow.
All right, and Subway cookies, 5 of them, all lined up. And to close it out, I'm doing a foot-long sandwich, turkey bacon, to close it out. I'm going to eat all of it.
This is supposed to be for dinner, not breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Put all together. Listen, hey, death row, you have 24 hours, right? I'm not going to bed if I'm on death row, guy. I'm going to eat and enjoy every morsel, suck the life out of everything.
The best part is you put a lot of thought into all of
Yes,
this.
I did.
For me,
So did he.
Yeah. Well,
Some time on his hands.
Let's get producer Joey's take on this before I wrap up with mine.
I'll have what Tony's having. But that pasta you had in Italy, that stuff is really good.
Oh,
Definitely a lot of
arrabbiata.
pasta, a lot of Italian food. I agree with you with hibachi. I want it to be that onion volcano that they kind of push around.
I like that too.
And then that just goes right into my mouth, and they just feed me that until it's time to go.
For me, I think it would be, I think I'd have to represent the DMV. Although I'm not a good representative if I have it being on death row.
True.
It would have to be crabs, probably, with a lot of Old Bay seasoning. And I mean, all the way piled up, to your point, Joey, like a volcano. Why? Because, hey, who cares about the high blood pressure? I'm going to die anyway.
Right. Let the state worry about it.
And then probably something to drink. I'm a scotch guy, so one last sip of a good scotch, the best you could find.
Ooh.
And I think that would be it. Yeah.
Also, I forgot about my drink, all Diet Cokes.
Really?
Coke Zeros.
Gosh.
And an Arnold Palmer.
All right.
Well, wait, do you get to, does the prison have to prepare it for you?
Yes.
Like, would they have to pick the crabs? Because if so, then I'm making them pick all the crabs.
I don't want to do that.
I'll still pick some crabs, but the amount of crab meat I want to eat necessitates that the guard at least help me.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. It's really a social thing. So the longer it takes me to eat, the longer I can delay with the inevitable.
Let me digest first.
Producer Joey with our next talker. What you got, my man?
All right. Well, it is office holiday party season, and the question is, what should your etiquette be? An HR expert, oh boy, revealed 4 things you shouldn't do include getting too drunk, oversharing, arguing, making inappropriate comments, or romantic advances. You guys know this. I mean, but also don't complain about your work, your pay, or your managers. And if you get caught, you know it's going to get posted online. So
Yep.
it's over at that point.
Especially if I'm there. Because the phone or the camera's always out. So
Yeah.
you got to watch out.
It's always that alcohol thing. I mean, no matter how many times we have said it, it's not like what Christmas comes like every 10 years. It happens every year. And so we always have the holiday party. Someone seems to, let's say, get a little bit too tipsy.
Right. I mean, here's the thing, and it starts from the top, right? So I think this depends if you're a large corporation with a lot of policies, or if you're kind of a smaller operation or a smaller firm or business. I think you have to make sure that your leaders, especially the smaller firms, are modeling that behavior and not sending everybody out to 3 and 4 after parties. One party, you have 1 or 2 drink limit, it's mostly food, and you go for one stop afterwards. Cut it off. Cut it off afterwards. One stop, okay? Some companies do 2 or 3 stops. Have one stop afterwards. Go before midnight. Anything past midnight, nothing good happens. So keep it below midnight. A 2-drink limit at the party. 1 drink limit at the after party. 3 drinks, you call it a day. You monitor it well, because you don't want partners and CEOs stumbling out of bars. You don't want that, because that models the behavior. Usually, again, and I've seen it in my first 4. I did 4 years in corporate before I went on my own. That a lot of the higher ups and managers tend to be the ones that drink a lot. So you might want to just make sure your management team is ready to go too.
Not saying that happens to be the actions of our managers right here.
No.
Never seen that. Real quick, I can tell you, so at the radio station, I work at a radio station, years ago, there happened to be a young man who made advances to one of our account executives. Another guy in a certain department, I won't say it because you might guess who it is, walked up to him and knocked him out at the Christmas party. And guess what? He was hailed as a hero for doing so. So
I mean, I like a guy stepping in like that. When things are going wrong like that.
Gosh.
But I mean, a punch. Could it be like a forcible removal? Maybe.
Well, needless to say, we don't want anyone punching out anyone else at their holiday party. Speaking of punching out, let's take this. I cannot believe this, and we talked about this earlier, Tony P, and that is Philip Rivers.
I saw that.
This guy, back at the age of 44, signing with the practice squad for the Colts. By the way, his son, his oldest child, happens to be 23 years old.
Wow. he could play if he wanted to.
What do you think about that?
I mean, look, he loves the game.
Yeah.
He has been a great quarterback for over 20 years. He got retired after the COVID season. And I'll tell you, he has a really large family to take care of, so that NFL salary, an extra amount might not be a bad thing. You get add an extra year of salary, maybe add some more pension money. I think it's a good win-win for the family. Good Christmas season coming for them.
Oh, that's a good point.
And again, I mean, I think he's very, very rich without that. But again, every extra rich dollar helps. So again, I think it's a good thing. I think also after Daniel Jones went down, of course, with the Achilles injury on Sunday, he's been having a great year. 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 3,200 yards passing. You need someone that might be able to take 8-5 and make you 12-5.
Wow, very well said.
And I think he can do it.
Yeah, it's
because
no
he has
secret.
Experience.
The Colts happen to be one of the best NFL teams
Yes,
right now.
it's so
Producer
sad
Drew, I
about
know
the
you're chomping
Achilles
at the bit
injury.
to get at this.
Oh, yeah.
What say you?
Well, I would like to see him try to convince his wife that he has to go back on the football field. It's like, sorry, honey, I'm going to leave you with these million kids. I got to get back to work after 5 years. But I looked it up. The oldest guy ever to play in the NFL was George Blanda. He was a quarterback, and he played until age 48.
For the Raiders, I think it was.
Yeah, Rivers is only...
And he punted, too.
Wow.
They don't make them like they used to.
They don't.
He punted and quarterbacked.
Listen, had the one bar on the helmet, I could see that. I could see that.
Well, we'll see Philip Rivers. Perhaps he's signed to the practice squad.
Oh, he'll be playing.
Let him play.
Back with the Colts. Yeah, that's yet again a story made for a movie. Tony P joining us right here on the Live Zone. Of course, you can check him up coming out at 2 o'clock on The Take. And then later on tonight on Live Zone Primetime with Chris.
Can't wait.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you, my friend.
With an
Always a
assist
pleasure.
by producer Joey. We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back.
Hey, everywhere I look now, this show's breaking out.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, everywhere I look on social media. I want to thank the star of this show, your producer over here, Joey. Because every time I get on there, all I see is Joey. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
This dude is, put him back on. He's singing. Joey, didn't I see you singing on something?
I did with the Hugh Jackman impression guy.
Yeah. See?
Well, that's why we had great waiting.
Okay. Joey, you going to let us little guys do a little talking here? I promise, I'll only take a minute of your time.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, it's cold out there. 25 degrees in Washington, 23 Dulles. It is going to be, so here's the good news with the forecast, guy.
Okay.
We got a little more sunshine than yesterday.
Yeah.
Kind of a partly sunny afternoon. We're not going to get rain or snow today, so that part's good. But boy, coldest numbers we've seen since literally last January and February. We were 8 degrees this morning in Martinsburg. We were 10 in Frederick. I had a viewer checking with me out in the mountains out at his place. He was 6 degrees this morning. So, that's the real deal. And even the coldest morning yet, Dulles 14 and National 20 degrees. So cold inside the Beltway, too. Okay, a little bit of a cloud deck working through. On either side, there's some clear skies. So I think we'll get back into some sunshine at some point this afternoon, but not a bright sunny day, kind of a partly sunny day. Today's very cold. Tonight will be, once again, below freezing, but not as cold as this morning. And then tomorrow we'll briefly warm it up, although tomorrow will be a cloudy day. Winds out of the south will push numbers up into the low 40s, and we might have a sprinkle or a shower tomorrow. It won't be terrible, but it will be a little milder. That'll be our warmest day of the week. As far as snow chances this week, neither of the chances Friday or Sunday look like big storms, but maybe a couple flurries Friday. That might be a light snow event Sunday morning. We'll have to watch that one carefully.
Wow. What is this, week number 2 in the month of December? Every week we've had the possibility for snow so far.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, if you want to impress everybody at home, and I know you do with weather facts, we are off to our 6th coldest December in 75 years.
Wow. That's good to know. Tucker Barnes joining us right here on the Live Zone. Folks, if you haven't already done so, make sure you download the Fox Local app and take that chilly forecast with you on the go.